Welcome back, my beautiful friends, to my podcast. I am so lucky to be in studio today with one of my beautiful friends slash mentors, Lidia Weston. Welcome to my podcast.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I was actually, I had so much fun on the podcast with my dad, and I was like, who should I ask? I was like literally thinking about it and praying about it because I'd like to talk more about business and everything, and like I couldn't get you out of my head. I know we had previously spoken about it, and you have so much inside of you that you pour out to all of us teams daily.
Thank you.
And I wanted the people to see.
Oh,
I
thank
wanted
you.
the people to see what you got, you know.
It's funny because you see more in me than I see in myself, so it's nice sometimes. Like, I know my husband, when he met you, he was like, you need to think about yourself the way that Sarah thinks about you, because that's how people see you. And I was like, wild, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the way that I see you is you are so driven and your goals are huge, that when she hits her goals, I'm like, what? Like, that's amazing. And she's like, I know, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I'm like, could do better.
I know. And I'm like so inspired by you, honestly.
So
let's tell everybody, right? Who are you? Who is Lidia? What were you doing before Monate? For people won't actually know what Monate is. Some do, some don't. What were you doing before, and how did we meet?
Okay. How deep do we want to go about who I am?
Well, I like deep. Do you know what I mean? Like,
too.
I like people to open up and be real. So.
Okay, so I'll give a condensed version. I'm Lidia. I am 34 years. I'm 34 years old. I have a son who is 11. I have a beautiful husband and 2 stepsons. I have been currently in my business for 2 years, but before that I have done everything from mental health work, support work. I have managed stores. I have been a personal trainer and owned my own business. I was a life coach for a couple of years. What else? I've done so many things, but I come from a family who I come from a very poor family. We didn't have a lot growing up. My dad passed away when I was 13. So as I grew older, we were kind of broke before that, but then as I grew older, I had to very quickly figure out how to make things work on my own, and how to provide for myself, because I just wasn't happy in my situation. I got something in my eye, sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
So I, straight away from the moment I moved out when I was 16, I decided that I was gonna just work my butt off. I always worked like 2-3 jobs, lived on my own, was very independent, became a mum, and then very quickly became a single mum for 5 years. And in that period, I had my own business, was doing personal training and life coaching and things like that. But I come from a family who doesn't really aspire for much. I know that sounds really bad, but
they're just content, right? Like,
yes.
That,
I'm the first person in my family to own a home. Like, other than my grandparents, really, that's the only people. And so I've always just had like a pretty good work ethic, I guess, because I've had to, because I've always had to provide for myself. So coming into this business, I didn't think it was for me. I definitely didn't think like the sales industry was for me, or network marketing industry. I had never been in network marketing before, never really been in sales before, and so I did not think it was for me. I also didn't really have a vision for myself at the time to be a leader or anything like that, because I got married very fast. Me and my husband met, and then a year later we got to the day we got married.
Wow.
And
like
our life like just went very fast tracked. And then I was just kind of thrown into being a wife and a stepmom, and adjusting to a life where I wasn't a single mum anymore. I was part of a family. There was just a lot going on, and I feel like I definitely lost myself a little. So when this business came around and kind of was presented to me, I didn't really have a lot of faith in myself, but I knew that I was looking for something. I'd always done like leadership camps at school. I was like vice president. I was always like a really high achiever until my dad passed away, and then my life kind of dramatically went downhill. So I've always like loved that sort of thing, especially being a PT and life coach. But it just wasn't what I envisioned for myself. And then when I started the business, something in me got like reignited, and I was just like, I want to do this. I want to be successful at this. I know that this can change my life. And I saw so many other women doing it that were, you know, worse off than I was, and were doing really well. And it just kind of gave me a bit of confidence to just actually work hard for something that wasn't about being a mum, or like something for me, you know, not for someone else. And so
your dad passed when you were 13?
Yeah, when I was 13.
That is very young.
Yeah, it was.
That's very young.
Yeah, it was in that change where I had just started high school, and I was going from year 7, which used to be primary school, into high school. And then, I went straight into high school, and that was like, you know, a huge transition in itself. And then dealing with the fact that I didn't have a dad, I feel like it was a really crucial part of anyone's life where they kind of they start finding their identity. And I was super close with my dad, and that, like, my world just fell out from underneath me. And I literally went from being like very like a driven child. I was always wanting to do the best and be a leader and do all that sort of thing. I was part of all the like clubs, debating clubs and all that sort of thing. And then my dad passed away, and we had to change schools because my mum couldn't afford for me to go to a private school anymore, because she was dealing with all of my dad's medical bills and you know, dealing with having a home on her own and 3 kids. And so we went to a public school, and my life just
oh my gosh, I can imagine. Like, that's a crucial age. And so did you get yourself into trouble at school? Like, were you naughty? And obviously, like, not naughty, I mean, you were literally in a traumatized situation, right?
I was expelled from 2 schools and then got kicked out of TAFE. So
you
could say I rebelled quite a bit. Went into, and I come from like a Christian home too, but we grew up in a very strict Christian home. We were not allowed a lot of opinions. We were not allowed to do just like normal things a lot of kids were allowed to do. So then when that happened as well, I just like rebelled. Didn't have my dad there, and there was no like solid foundation, I would say. And everything that I knew about Christianity and all that sort of thing, I didn't actually have a personal relationship with God at the time, and didn't really know much about it. So I just went full rebellious. I stopped going to church. I stopped like doing everything. I was a worship leader at the time at my youth. And
what age was that?
That would have been, so this was before I moved out of home, so I would have been 15. I was one of like the worship leaders. And then my mum actually took me out of the church because she thought that I was becoming too focused on the worship side of it rather than I grew up very different to a lot of people.
This is so interesting. You have been through excuse me, so much and so much adversity, but yet you still are, in my eyes and in my view of you, you are succeeding.
Oh, thank you.
You are massively succeeding, and for those that don't know, you are succeeding really well in our company. And the top 1%, I think it is, of the company that you're actually playing in right now.
Top 1 or 2%, I think.
And so how if somebody's watching and they're going through massive adversity like what you've been through, like your dad's passed away, like you went through hectic schooling, then to try and find yourself, and then go through like being a single mom for 5 years, like this is like knock after knock, right? And then to be married and try and figure that out.
How
do you dig deep is my question.
It's funny because I think a lot of people that do really well at business have been through a lot because they have this tenacity to push through the uncomfortableness of growing, of like the challenges, all that sort of thing. And I don't think that if I didn't go through what I went through, I would be where I am. Yeah. And I don't think that I would have the drive, to get through it, because I want more for myself. I want more for my family. Yeah. I don't want my son to grow up the way that I did. I want more for them. Yeah. And yeah, like I would say that the more challenges that you have been through, you have a decision whether it can make you stronger or it can turn you like into a victim, I guess. Yeah. And I have seen that in my own family, and I looked at that and said, I don't want to be like that. And I consider myself a very self-aware person, so I know that when these things come up, I know that it's from like my trauma. I know that it's from the things that have happened to me, and I go, well, if I can get through that, I can get through this. And I also know that like God's got me no matter what, because I have been through some things that people are just like, how do you move on from that? And when me and my husband are going through a really hard time, I'm like, God has literally never failed me. That's right. Like I could be in such a different position, I could be such a different person if I let those things determine who I was, but God has always had enough grace for me, and he's always had a better plan for me, that I know that whatever I'm going through, he's going to get me through, because he's done it before. Yeah, I feel the exact same way, and I think that's a beautiful way you and I connect, is through our faith. Yeah. And I feel like my faith is intertwined within my business, and 100%. I don't know, do you feel like that about yours? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I don't think that I would be doing this business if it wasn't for God. Yeah. One of the big things about our particular company as well is it's very faith focused. It's very centered around like the owners of the company are Christian, and I know that when I started this business, I saw that they at their conferences did like a worship session and like a sermon and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is really calling me, I think, where I need to be. And I have leaders in the business who, before anything else, they encourage me closer to my relationship with God before anything else in my business. And when I'm like, I'm feeling this way and I want to quit and I want to do this, and they're like, how much time have you been spending with God lately? You know? Exactly. And I'm like, you're like, oh my gosh, well, not really a lot. Maybe that's why I'm feeling this way. And I have been able to, which has been amazing, I have been able to open up to a lot more people about my faith and about God through my business. I have been able to pray for people. I've been able to lead, like literally one of my best friends in this business the other day said to me, if I wanted to start somewhere, and she's got has never been brought up in church or anything, she's like, what Bible would I read? Would you come to church with me? And these things happen all the time in the last 3 years. It happens to me all the time as well. Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but I know that God has me in this business for a reason, and to touch people's lives some way, shape or form. Do you know what's so interesting is that when I was coming to start with you guys, I had somebody say to me, oh, you want to do Monat? Those girls talk about shampoo more than they do Jesus. And I thought, like, that really actually affected me. It made me not want to show up online, because I was like, well, I really am strong in my faith, and I really do believe in God a lot. And for somebody to say that now if I do this business, I'm actually not going to be talking about God as much as I am shampoo, but we all got to make a living. And also what you just said, they don't actually realize the core of the company is faith-based. And we have, like, at the main conference, a worship day. And even in some of our trainings, like Avi will open up in prayer. And so I feel so blessed to be in this company. But like, what attracted you in the first place to even start it? Like,
Because I'm sure you were hesitant. You were, right, in the beginning.
Yeah. I'm a very what's the word? Not cynical. That
skeptical.
too, a little skeptical. Very skeptical person. I'm always looking for like, you know, where's the red flags here? What's what's the catch? That sort of thing. I was very hesitant to start. But I think I saw a girlfriend of mine doing it, and we have very similar values. We align very well. She started this business, and I joined it because I wanted to try the products. I love like beauty and fashion and hair and all that sort of thing. And I wanted to try the products, absolutely loved them. And then she was showing me how much money she had made within like the first couple of months. And I was like,
that's crazy.
We had just like fallen into a bit of a financial situation as well, where my husband went to go to the firefighters, which was amazing for him, like pursuing his dream career. But we had to take a huge pay cut. We had a mortgage. We had 3 kids, that sort of thing. And I was like, I got to do something. So to be honest, it was like the money to begin with. But then when I decided if it was a company that I wanted to align myself with, because I'm a very like real, authentic, sometimes too much honest person. So I feel like I have to really believe in something, and if it's a company that I'm going to partner with, it's something that I have to really align with their values and things like that. And at the time, it was when the conference was on. It was when I was starting to look into the business, and all the women that I saw doing it, I saw myself in those women. And then I saw the conference being really centered around God and faith and all that sort of thing. And I just thought, I just felt really called to it. It's really as simple as that. I just felt something in my gut being like, I feel like this is right for me. I feel like this is where I belong. I'd never done network marketing before, but I had worked for a lot of other companies that had values that I really didn't align with. I'd worked for another really big company who has like a very big name in the world, and I didn't align with their values, and I knew how much of a toll that took on me personally when I was working for them, and I just swore to myself I would never do that again. So this just felt right. It just, I had this feeling in my gut, and when I talk to women who want to start the business, I go, I know the feeling that you're feeling, because I felt that feeling. If you like aren't sleeping and you get woken up and you're thinking about this business, this is the sign that you should do it.
I literally get so excited at end of month, and just all of us together, like in the chats and stuff, like encouraging one another. The sisterhood within it is just amazing.
And that's something that I really wanted to create as well. Like I wanted to create a community, because there are a lot of women in the States who do that, and they've had it in the States for quite a lot longer than we have. But I want to give people a place where they feel like they belong, and the community and all that sort of thing. So, I
love that.
I don't know if I'm answering your questions.
Yes,
probably.
you are. You absolutely
I can talk a minute, like just go down a rabbit hole.
So you and I are both mothers and wives, and we are wearing many hats.
Many.
And now we're here doing podcasts. What do you feel like, or how do you actually juggle motherhood, being a wife? Like, does your husband support you working? Like, how are you juggling all of this for people that are feeling like, my brain's so busy, I can't even get to school drop off on time? Like, how are you actually juggling this? Because there's actually a lot of women that are going to listen to this, and they're inspired, and they're like, okay, I'm going to start my own little at-home sewing business, or I'm going to sell cookies. And they just have like no practical tools to be like, how are you actually juggling it all?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't do it that well.
Whatever, your house is so clean.
I mean, it helps that I don't have my son. I have my son week on, week off, so I get a week without him, which is much to my detriment. But I I have to be like, there's me and my husband have like a bit of a joke that I have ADHD, because he definitely does, but he doesn't want me to admit that I do.
Yeah.
And so my brain, like you, is just constantly going, and I constantly feel like I have to be the best mother and the best wife and the best leader and the best businesswoman and,
yes.
you know, the best friend and all that sort of thing. And it's okay that one of those balls is going to drop. Yeah. You know, like you can't be everything for everyone at once. And I think people, and I'm speaking to myself here, put too high expectations on themselves that they have to be everything for everyone. Yeah.
That's me.
Literally, same.
Yeah.
And I think we do our best. And I know that, like, my husband is very, very supportive of me doing this business, because when I went to the conference last year, he saw how much I flourished in that environment, and he was just like, this is where you're meant to be, this is what you're meant to be doing. Quit your job and do this business full time. So because I did the same for him when he was doing the firefighters, I sacrificed a lot and all that sort of thing. He wanted to do the same for me. So it requires me, you know, at times putting my son to bed and then jumping on a call and doing my business then, and finding the time where I can, and not trying to stretch myself too much that I go into burnout. And just doing what I can where I can, and not trying, something that I had to really learn early on, which was really hard for me, but I wanted to join this business because I wanted more like freedom and choice in my life. I wanted to be able to drop my son to school and go home and bake for him and, you know, run my business like that. But I found at the start I was on my phone a lot, and I was just constantly trying to, you know, keep up with everything. And I had to stop and question myself and be like, okay, I wanted this business because I wanted to spend more time with my son. So I have to be really conscious about my work times. If that means that it's 6 till 7 in the morning, and then, you know, 7 till 9 is when he goes to school. And then after that, that's my work time, you know, after 9. And I have to be really self-disciplined with putting my phone away and being like, and saying no to things. I'm quite bad at saying like, hey, I'm not great at boundaries. So I'm not great at being like, oh, I actually can't do that. So I'm still learning that skill. I'm still learning how to say no to things, and how to, and you ask my husband, he'll be like, you're terrible at that, because I'm like, I've just got to do this cut, I just got to talk to this person, and I feel like I'm constantly on my phone. But I'm still learning. I'm still learning like the juggle and the balance. And also, this is the first time I've ever done my own business full time. And so figuring out a schedule and all that sort of thing is quite difficult.
It is. I love the fact that you're being open about that, because lots of people don't actually, you know, talk about stuff like that. And
if you look at social media, you're looking at people that are, you know, a day in the life of a businesswoman, and it's getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's doing all this and packing the kids' lunches, and it's all aesthetic, but you don't realize what the reality of that is. And I think that I looked at certain people and was like, oh, they make it look so effortless. So then I had these high expectations of myself, and when I was starting to feel burnt out, I was like, well, why is this? And it's because I was trying to do everything so perfectly.
A lot of those girls actually have their own PAs, nannies, house cleaners.
100%.
And they're just not posting them or showing them, right? And exactly. So let's actually talk on that. Like, comparison is the thief of joy. My dad always says that to me.
I can talk about this.
Comparison is the thief of joy. And you and I are so hard on ourselves and so driven, and I know there's women watching this and men that would be like, man, that, you know, that really speaks to me, right? And so in our business and in sales in general, like, there's always that element of people feeling like not good enough because somebody's doing better. Like, how do you feel like you deal with that? Are we still journeying that, or?
I feel like recently I have been able to overcome it, but it was a really, really huge thing for me when I started my business. I, like, this business will tell you so many things about yourself, like, just, I guess, having your own business in general.
Literally go live and you're like, all the thoughts will hit you all at once.
And you just realize so much about yourself. And the biggest thing that I realized when I started my own business was that I was doing it not to prove to myself anything. I wanted to prove to others, and I was seeking validation, because I when I got into my business, I was doing very well to begin with. I was on leaderboards. I was, you know, being asked to speak on like national meetings and all that sort of thing. And then when I started, like, time went on, I started realizing that I was really hard on myself, but I also was comparing myself to other people in this business who either had more experience than me, who had more years doing this business than I had, or just were, I guess, doing better than me. And I really struggled with it. I would have nights where I would see someone doing better than me, and I would like cry to my husband and be like, why aren't I doing that well? And, you know, it's just not fair, and I've been trying so hard, and why can't I have that as well, and all that sort of thing. And it almost destroyed my business. Like, I almost gave up so many times because I genuinely couldn't handle it. And every time that I talked to someone about it, an upline or a friend or whatever, they were like, you need to stop comparing your success to other people's, and stop comparing yourself to others. And that took a long while. I was stuck at this one particular rank for 6 months. And I was so frustrated because I was like, I'm trying and I'm doing all that I can. And I now know that I wasn't ready to be the level of leader that I needed to be for that next rank, because I had so much of my own stuff that I had to work through. And until I took care of that, that's when everything else started to evolve.
Well, it does involve a lot of self-reflection to be like, for what purpose do I want to hit that? And also die to self-ego, right? And when we do hit those things, like, it's so nice and it's such a nice accomplishment, but it's a very fine line with being like, was that for my ego? Like,
you want the validation.
Is it validation for me? I've actually been asking myself and talking with God a lot, because I know God has placed massive vision inside of me for this business.
I know.
I can feel the pull for women that I'm supposed to be in front of. And together we are supposed to be helping many women. And so I have this vision, but my reality has not yet lined up with that yet, because I literally am like at the third rank and am not consistently hitting that. But the Lord is bringing me people non-stop. Like, my business is doing well every month, considering I'm running other businesses.
100%.
And so then I ask myself, for what purpose am I wanting to hit the top of the company? Because that money is insane. Like, that is a lot of money.
Huge
when
money.
when you're making it all the way up there. And what does God actually want me to do with that money? How is it going to be distributed? And so I feel like all of those plans and stuff are currently being downloaded into me.
Wow.
And because if you're not a good steward of money, like the Bible talks about that, like, what is the point of being blessed?
How is he going to trust you with much if he can't trust you with little?
There you go.
You know?
There
I don't know the exact.
Yeah, but that's exactly right. It says that in the Bible. And so how am I going to steward $200,000 months? What am I going to do with that money? Who are we going to impact, and who are we going to help? And also, how am I going to keep my ego in check? To be like, listen.
And it's really hard when you have a business on social media too, because your ego is constantly challenged by other people, by like living up to other people's standards, by having highlight reels, like all that sort of thing. You have to be honest with yourself and be like, is this something that aligns with who I am, or am I just trying to like keep up with something else, you know?
So true.
And it's really hard to check yourself all the time, which is why a lot of people don't do well in this industry, but in business in general, because it makes you face stuff that you don't know how to deal with. You know?
And it is all mindset as well. Like, a lot of what we deal with is mindset, and we have to click ourselves from in and out of like something negative to be like, okay, let's go. Like, we need to have a positive mindset because I have so much to accomplish today. What are some things that you do for yourself to switch yourself into a positive mindset if you're not having a great time in your business?
I'll be honest, I really struggle with this. I really struggle with like, my whole life I have pretty much been surrounded by pessimist people, so it it's very natural for me to just switch into that mindset.
How do you get yourself out of it?
I have to, I listen to worship music. I put on one of our trainings, like we have access to just like the most amazing training, so I will find someone that I really, really align with and listen to one of their trainings. I really love listening to Ed Milet because he's a Christian.
Same, I love
and
him.
He's just like so real and honest, and like when I'm listening to that, I feel like really motivated, and switches me into a more positive mindset. And just going back to why I want to do this, and not going back into my natural state of like, I can't be bothered and I want to be lazy and I'm not good enough for this and all that sort of thing. I have to actually acknowledge that is something that I revert to, and then go, but that's not who God wants me to be. That's not what He has designed for my life. And I just keep telling myself, I just got to do that 1%. I don't have to be on every day, and I don't have to be in the greatest mood every day, but I have to keep going, because this vision that I have for my life is bigger than me. It's for my son, it's for my family, it's to get us out of like, you know, a bad financial situation, that sort of thing. So and one thing that I've been doing recently is making sure that I'm moving my body 30 minutes a day. So good. I have a lot of like, I've got back injuries and stuff, so I have been in and out of doing fitness and things, but now realizing that it's actually better for my mental health than it is to just look good. So I've been trying every day, and I have been noticing definitely a difference, that even just going for like a half an hour walk will get me out of like that you know, negative headspace.
I literally love the gym mainly for my brain. I just love it.
I think from being a personal trainer, and I was like, when I first began Instagram, I was like one of the mummy influencers, I would say, like fit mummy influencers. And so I was always doing it for like to look good or whatever. And now it's switched to, and I know it always made me feel good, but now I have a need for it to keep my brain in a good mental state. Otherwise I would just, I don't know what I would do. I'd fall into like a depressive hole. And I've done that before and realized that if I continue to have the same habits, that I'm going to continue to be in the same position. So I have to do things that challenge me. And sometimes a 30-minute walk challenges me. Totally. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to move my body. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to feel good. You get like that. you self-sabotage. And I'm like, I don't want to feel good. I just want to stay in this.
Rubbish. I'm rubbish everywhere.
Literally. And I just tell myself that all the time. And then I'm like, okay, get it together.
Yeah, we can all relate.
Yeah. So.
I'm feeling like in my spirit, somebody would be watching this, and like people are going through hard times, and to look at someone like you and be like, you know, people judge you to be like, she's got everything together. Look at her beautiful little family. Look at her piercings. She's so gorgeous. And do you know what I mean? Like, women are like this.
Yeah.
And for you to be so real, vulnerable, and open today is so beautiful. Like, you've gone through the death of your father. You've gone through multiple adversity in your life. And to come out on the other end and you're still growing and evolving is something so beautiful to share. And so me and Lidia want to encourage you guys, like, if you're listening to this, there is always a brighter day ahead of you. There is always tomorrow. And you were talking about Ed Milet, and I love him so much. He often talks about just one more day. So if you're having a rough time, and if your business is not going well, just give it one more day. Just give it one more post and just try again. And I just want to say thank you for encouraging everybody.
Thank you. I was saying this to a girlfriend of one of our friends this morning, and I was like, just one more, like, just keep going. You know,
just one more day.
Because if you give up today when you're feeling awful, you never know what could happen. You never know like what that could eventuate to. But if you give it 5 years or another year from now, and you just keep going and pushing through those hard days, sure, if you look back and you're like, I'm in the exact same position, you know that you could have done better, you know. But if you look back in a year's time and you're like, wow, imagine if I quit on that hard day.
I know, right?
Imagine if I just went, no, stuff it all, like, you would never know. You would never know your potential or what life could be if you just give up on that hard day. And daily I want to give up.
Mm-hmm.
Daily I want to just crawl into a ball sometimes and just be like, I'm done.
Someone book me a method.
Yeah, someone book me a method. Mom,
where are you?
Someone come and help me.
I know,
yeah, we're still all like little girls on the inside that need to be taken care of.
I know, right? But anyway, that being said, Lydia and I are actually expanding our teams, but we are very specific at this. In this year, at this point in time, we're looking for like-minded women. Yeah. We are looking for women that are wanting to grow and evolve just like we are.
Yeah.
And so if that's you, just reach out to us, or if you've listened to anything in this podcast today and it's really struck a chord in you and you want to talk to either of us, just reach out. Honestly, we would love to talk to you guys about it and just be there for you. And I hope you guys got something out of this today. Thank you so much for being with me.
No,
you are
amazing.
For having me.
I love being in a place where I can just be real and like I absolutely adore your friendship. One of the best things that has come out of this business is meeting you and just
You're amazing. Thank you for being with me today and sharing your beautiful heart.
Oh, thank you. Love you.
I love you, lads. Bye. See you on the next one, guys. Bye.
Bye.